everyone. So today I'm sharing with you some of my favorite products for summertime. These ones really help, I'm going to say, beat the heat and are fantastic for mature skin. So let's get into it. I'll apologize in advance. I'm not sure. I'm trying not to make this video too long, but it is a video that I only do once a year, and I try and gather all of the products that I love in the summertime and put them into one video. We're just going to jump in and get right into it. I have a bunch of, there's some skincare products as well. It's not all makeup. So the first product is not going to shock you if you're familiar with my channel. I love using a tinted sunscreen, and I generally use them most of the year. But this one in particular I use especially in the summertime because it's a really nice formula. Even though it evens out my skin tone, gives me great coverage. This is an SPF 50. So it's the Roche Posay Atheneos Mineral Sunscreen. Now this one is quite a liquidy formula, but there's a lot of days I just throw this on and I don't have to worry about wearing any sort of foundation for the day. I always advise shaking it up. It has like a little mechanism inside that it needs to be shaken up. When I say it is quite a liquidy formula. Put it on. See what a lovely shade that is. I find on my skin tone it doesn't lean too warm. And then just a few of the details for this tinted sunscreen. Even though it's a mineral sunscreen, it doesn't leave any sort of a white cast on your face at all because it has that nice tinted formulation. It feels very weightless. It absorbs like so fast into the skin. It doesn't leave any sort of like a greasy feel. Like the back of my hand right now does not feel greasy at all. And it does give like a glowy, natural look to my skin. And because it is more of like a universal shade, it should match most skin tones. And it does have UVA and UVB protections. And that's really important when you're looking for any sort of sunscreen product. Make sure it has both. If you're somebody that has sensitive skin, this is a great brand for that. They really cater to people with sensitivities to their skin. Now this next product has fast become a favorite in my skincare collection. And it is the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Hue Drops. This is a multi-purpose product. So you can use this just as it by itself on your skin, or you can apply it with a little bit of like foundation, mix it in with your foundation. You can put it on and just use it as a little bit of like a glowy highlighter on your cheek. What I did today is I applied it after my sunscreen. So I put my sunscreen on, and it does recommend on the packaging to use it as like a last step after all your skincare products are on. Now it does look a little bit scary when it comes out of the package. It is quite dark. It kind of scared me when the first time I tried it. I was like, oh my goodness, do I want to put this on my face? But once you blend it in, look at that. It leaves my skin hydrated. It leaves my skin with a glowy appearance. It absorbs lovely, like really lovely into the skin. It's not greasy feeling at all right now. It gives a sheer tint. You can wear this by itself. It's really lovely actually with that niacinamide in there because that over time that's just going to really brighten the skin. Like I mentioned though, I just sometimes will wear this and I won't wear anything else. Like I don't need a foundation, that sort of thing. And it gives you more of like a no makeup kind of day if you're using this, but just a lovely, lovely product. I'm not sure if my mic is going to pick it up, but right now, even though I'm doing a summer sunny video, it is pouring rain outside right now, so I have the window open a little bit, just a little bit of air in here, but if that's what you hear, it is raining outside right now. The one product that I love for a self-tanner, I will use self-tanner throughout the year. I think it just gives the skin a really nice boost and a healthy glow without having all that sun damage by sitting in the sun. So one of my go-tos is this St.Tropez. This is the Luxe Tan Drops. Now this is one of those products you can use directly to your face. I personally prefer to mix it in with my moisturizer or my serum. And I do that usually in the morning. But it does have a dropper type of bottle or applicator. And I squeeze generally with my moisturizer, I squeeze about 1 or 2 drops. And that I find gives me enough of a tan look. The more drops that you use, the deeper your tan will get. This says that you can use it all over your body. I personally just use it on my face, but you can certainly mix it in with like if you have your body lotion, mix it in with your body lotion. It doesn't leave like that orangey kind of cast you can sometimes get with self tanners. It just looks so natural on the skin. Now lately I've been using this product a lot for my eyebrows. I find that sometimes a pencil will tend to fade after, if you get a little bit sweaty, it can kind of fade over time. So this one I've been using is the Maybelline, the Build-A-Brow. I have this in the shade a medium brown, but this is I should say Shake It Up. You can kind of hear that it needs to be shaken up. So it's a felt type of product, but look at how precise that is. It gives really precise hair-like strokes. And then on this side is a gel type of formula. And that is what I run through after I've deposited the felt liner. Then I go through, and my eyebrow hairs do not go anywhere. Like, they are there for the day and it like doesn't budge. So when you're looking for something to really help your eyebrow hairs stay and the formula, I would recommend this one. And there's also a NYX one as well. That one's really good too. But I like this one because it has that little spoolie on the end that you can run through the hairs, whereas the NYX one just is the felt tip on the end. Now, if you do want to wear a foundation on a hot day, I suggest using a primer to really help that foundation adhere to your skin so it is not going to go anywhere. Well, the one I recommend actually is the e.l.f. This is the Power Grip Primer. Now, there's two different types. There's this one, and then there's also a pink one. This stuff locks your makeup in place. Like, your foundation is not going to budge if you're using this. Now, it does say once you apply it, it recommends applying it with your fingers, and it says that the warmth of your fingers will really help it penetrate the skin, and then leaving it for about 30 seconds before you go in with any foundation or any sort of makeup product. This is great for sensitive skin. It has hyaluronic acid in it. I like how it's a clear formula. See, it's right there. But it gives the skin a little bit of tackiness. Like right now, I can feel it's a little bit tacky. It really does help my makeup stay. It's actually been several hours since I applied all of my makeup products before I started filming. I mean, this looks so true right now to how I applied it a while ago. It gives me a little bit of added benefit by smoothing over those lines, and the foundation doesn't then sink into those lines. So wonderful, wonderful primer, and affordable. Now, for eye makeup, I usually try and keep things pretty simple in the summertime. I'm a neutral gal. I love my neutral shades. I think it looks really pretty on, very simple. There's some days where I actually just will use like a bronzer, like take my bronzer, my powder one, and just use that as my eyeshadow. I think it just looks very polished, but very quick and simple. The eyeshadows I'm going to show you today, one I did receive in PR a little while ago, and I haven't had the chance to use it, and I really, really wanted to show it on camera because it's been sitting there waiting for me to play with it. So if you do follow me over on Instagram, I'll put my handle. My handle is always down in my description box if you want to follow me there. I do post things off and on here and there, but I'm not a dedicated Instagram person. There's just so many platforms now to be doing stuff on. But anyhow, I did receive a package from them, and I'll put the picture over here of what I received, and it was an entire lip collection. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I was not expecting it. It was a total surprise. So I do have some of those products in this video as well, but oh my goodness, you guys, I was just blown away. But the eyeshadow palette that they sent me is a new one of theirs, and it is the Sigma. This is the Cool Neutrals. Like, the color story is so pretty. I love the shades, especially all over on this side here for summertime, because it's a lot of neutrals. So I will show you the shades that I did use today, and this is what actually I have on my eyes today. But look, you can see it's a very simple look. I didn't go all elaborate at all. I did use one of the eyeshadows as my my guide for my eyeliner. I did go in with this nice brown shade here. It's called Harvest, and I used that as my transition shade all over my lid. The next shade I went into is this one right here, and that is called Fossil. And I did use that all over the crease area. And then last I went in, and I will swatch these for you guys so you can have a better view of them. I did go in with this shade right here, and it's called Onyx. And it's more like a charcoal black. And that's the one that I used as my eyeliner. But Sigma eyeshadows are a classic. The formulation that they have is superb. It never, I never have any troubles blending the products at all. The color stories complement each other so well. The formula is very buttery and smooth. Like I mentioned to you, I've had my makeup on for quite some time, but you can see here there's no creasing at all going on. It just blended in so beautifully. One of the nice things about this palette too is it came with its own little brush. Look at the detail. Look at like the right here on the handle. Isn't that gorgeous? And one end is like a crease brush. And then it has more of like a flat brush. And then those were the shades I was telling you about. So there's Harvest, there's Fossil, and there's Onyx. So 3 simple shades. That's what I have on. And then I can't wait to use some of these other ones in here. I know, shocking, I didn't put any like shimmer or anything on my eyes today. I just wanted to kind of be matte. Now, if you're somebody that does prefer more of like a creamy type of formula, then I have you covered there too. Ones that I would recommend are the Merit. These are the Solo shadows. I have 2 different shades. One is called Studio and one is called Social. These are a cream to powder formula. They are buildable. They come just like a little pot. They leave more of a soft matte finish. They don't have any sort of creasing. And one of the nice things about it, because it's not like a powder, like an eyeshadow powder formula, there's no fallout at all from them. And they are also designed to be applied with your finger. You can apply them with a brush if you want, but I usually just throw it on using my finger. So these are the 2 shades that I mentioned I had. So this is Studio here, and that's Social. I love the shades for summertime. Again, that really neutral kind of look. Last all day. Like these are not budging at all. So you can go from morning to night, not worry about your eyeshadow creasing, fading, doing any of that. So wonderful. I highly recommend these ones. These ones are great. And especially with Merit, I actually have done videos where I show a bunch of Merit products. They are such a great brand. And they're all, check all the boxes. They're cruelty free. These ones are non-talc. They're a very minimalistic type of brand, and I really appreciate them. So a couple of foundations that I do go to for wearing in the summer months. One is a higher end and one is a drugstore one. And I usually like to keep it more on I'm going to say like a satiny type of look. I don't really want to do like a big dewy look because sometimes in the summertime you may be sweating. You'll kind of look shiny on your face. So the 2 foundations that I go to for minimalizing that is the Clinique. This is the Even Better Serum Foundation. And then I also have the Revlon, the Illuminance Skin Caring Foundation. So wonderful products for lasting throughout the day. The Clinique one is actually the one that I am wearing today. And even with my skin being on the drier side, it gives me a nice complement of a satiny type of look. It's not dewy and it's not matte, which really surprised me when I first started using this at how lovely it made my skin look. It does have an added benefit of having SPF 25 in it, but as I mentioned, usually in my videos, I always apply extra SPF products. I don't rely on my makeup to do that. I don't think you can apply enough makeup in order to achieve sunscreen protection. So there's the Clinique. You can see what lovely coverage it gives me. And I just apply a nice layer where it is like that drop that I used right there. That will do my whole face because I don't want a lot of heavy products. I want more of like a light appearance, like a lightweight appearance. I don't mind my natural skin poking through. And then the Revlon, and sorry, I should say, all the products that I'm talking about today, I always list them down in the description box in case I forget to tell you guys a shade number or in case you miss it as I'm talking, as I'm blabbing on and on. So you guys, it'll be down in the description box. I'm sorry, I apologize. Sometimes I forget to mention what shade I'm using. So there's the Revlon, and we'll just blend this one in right beside the Clinique. This one gives me, I'm going to say, a little bit more hydration look, which I don't, mind. But look at how pretty the two of them are. The Clinique does have that's just the shade that it is. This one does a little bit on the, like a warmer side for me, whereas the Revlon gives me more of a pink shade. But both of those foundations, I never have any sort of issue with them fading throughout the day. Like, they actually last a really long time with the assistance of that primer, the e.l.f. primer that I was telling you about. The longevity is fantastic. Doesn't sink into all of my little, fine lines that I have going on there and up here and around my mouth. And I did do a whole first impression video on the Revlon, so I will include that down below for you guys if you wanted to check that out and see my whole spiel about how good the foundation is. And then I'm going to say an honorable mention if you don't want to have like a actual foundation on your face, then a great go-to is this one by Merit, and it is called the Minimalist. It's actually a stick. It's not technically, they don't call it a foundation, and it's not technically a concealer, but I think the phrase is that it will replace both of them in your routine, which it does. But look at the coverage. So that was just like a couple of swipes on my skin, and then when you blend it in, it just literally melts into the skin. But you can see how nicely it's covered up a bunch of my veins on my hand. It's one of those products that you can't apply too much. Like, I use this, especially when I'm traveling. This is a great product because you're not taking a liquid when you're only allowed so many liquids in your suitcase if you have a carry-on. This is a stick, so you don't have to worry about that at all. You can blend it in with your fingers. You can blend it in with a brush. Very versatile that way. Now, this is one of my favorite go-to products for the summertime and when I travel. Now, when it comes to concealer, I really stopped and thought about what concealer out there is very light under the eye and one that I can use as like a spot corrector. So even if I didn't want to use foundation that day, there's a lot of concealers now that you can just use. They call them kind of all over concealers. So you're not just primarily using it under the eye. You can also use it on your face and then just blend in any of those areas, and it just makes your skin look fantastic without having all of that heavy makeup on. This is not going to be a shock to anybody. The one I chose is the Lancome the Tint Idel. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. I have so many videos with this product in it, and it's just, you guys are sick of me talking about it. So that's all I'm going to say. I'll put some videos down below if you wanted to go check it out. But this is just such a lightweight concealer. It doesn't ever look cakey under the eye. This is actually what I'm wearing today, and the coverage is fantastic. Doesn't sink into any of my fine lines. Looks great from the time I put it on in the morning to the time that I go to bed at night. On my particular skin, I actually don't even need to apply powder, which I know is probably shocking. I'm one of those people that I just don't need powder on my face. Like, I didn't use anything today. You can see that my skin looks it looks radiant, but not greasy looking or shiny looking. And then a backup to the Lancome Tint Idel is the L'Oreal True Match. So I did just have this in a few videos actually, so I'm again not going to go into too much detail about this one either. If you want to go check out some of those other videos, and that'll just save some time on this video. But a wonderful product. What I like about this one, it has hyaluronic acid in it and just makes my under eyes look fantastic, but at a fraction of the cost of the Lancome. This is a drugstore price, whereas this is a little bit on the higher end. If you are looking for some great waterproof pencils, if you do like wearing an eyeliner, the one that I go to for my tight lining, because it stays, like I actually have it on today, and it's one of those eyeliners, when you tight line, it doesn't transfer to my bottom waterline. So I did not put anything on my bottom waterline today, and you can see that there's no, like, this did not transfer down. So this is my favorite pencil right now for tight lining, and it's the Sephora, the 12-hour color collection. This one I have in the shade Tiramisu, so it is one that I definitely need to sharpen right now. I've been using it so much. It's a nice brown shade, and it's not like a stark black. Does no transferring. And then my other shade that is my go-to, it is also by Sephora. They have some great eye pencils. This is in the shade Shimmer Taupe. And this one I use a lot on my, like just under my lash line, my bottom lash line. But you can see how it's not a brown. It's not, it almost looks, it has like a mauvey kind of tone to it, but really lovely under the eye. And it doesn't look like, you know, too much, but I always have to have something under my eyes. I always do. And then a drugstore version is the L'Oreal. This is the Infallible retractable pencil. And then that one is a little bit more on the brown side. But again, it does a great job of not transferring if I do use it for my tight lining. Doesn't transfer, so a great drugstore choice for you guys if that's what you're interested in. Now, I'll be honest, I don't own any waterproof mascaras. It is just not my jam. I find waterproof mascaras, they are just so hard to remove, and I just don't want to damage my eyelashes at all. They're like so thin and so short and everything. I just don't want to damage them anymore. The only mascara that I will say that I have been really enjoying, and you guys are sick of me talking about it, so I'm just gonna throw it up here like this. And it's the Milani. This is the anti-gravity. What I will say about this is it doesn't smudge, it doesn't flake, it removes easily at the end of the night. It does last. Like, it actually claims, it says 24-hour wear, but I mean, I don't wear my makeup for 24 hours, so I can't attest to that. But a great formula. That's one of the reasons why I wear so many tubing mascaras, because tubing mascaras are so easy to remove at the end of the night. Like, they literally come off as little tubes. So gentle on the eyelashes. I have them pretty much every video. I have some sort of tubing mascara. This one isn't bad, I will say, for being removed at the end of the night. But if you're looking for something that, I'm not going to say it's waterproof, but I think it's a great choice if you are looking for something to stay. I never have any issues with it like smudging like above my eye here. And I use it very sparingly. Any sort of mascara I use very sparingly on my bottom lashes, because if you're going to have any sort of raccoon eyes happening, that's because of down here under your eyes. But that's just my, like, again, personal choice. I just want to have something on those bottom lashes, and I literally just kind of go like this, put a tiny bit. I take my hand and I bring it back up, and you'd be surprised of how much mascara you get on your hand when you do that, on your finger. That would have all ended up under my eye and would have wrecked my concealer and everything. So just a little tip for you guys. Okay, I only have one bronzer for you that I would recommend as a great bronzer for the summer. It's the L'Oreal Infallible. This is the 24 Fresh Wear bronzer. I have this one in the shade 300. You have to appreciate, as many products that I try, like I try a lot of products. I have hit pan on this. That is how much I use it. The formula is just, I think, such a great one for the summer because it's waterproof. It is not chalky at all. I'm going to say products to go to for, like, especially face products that you're adding in. I think it's important that powders kind of get into that mix. Liquids and creams, as great as they are, sometimes have a tendency to fade throughout the day. Some of them, like I have some coming up here. I'm not saying that's for every cream or liquid. Some of them have great staying power, but this one, it just stays. Like, it is locked in. It is not going anywhere. And this has been my favorite bronzer for quite some time. And then to go along with the bronzer, I do have a couple of other blushes I'm going to recommend to you, but this is the one I'm wearing today. This is my go-to. It's the Infallible. It's the blush, like the bronzer. So it goes in the same family here. This one I have in the shade Fearless Coral. To go along with the bronzer being waterproof, it has a waterproof formula. But the degree of pigmentation on this blush is amazing. I only need to watch like that. I just dab, and it picks up the product so well. When you first start putting it on, I usually stipple my blush on. I find it deposits a little bit better on my cheek that way. But this is gonna last me forever because I'm literally just using a tiny, tiny little bit. And it feels buttery. It's beautiful. Like the shade, that is a beautiful shade for the summertime. I love it. And like I said, it's like feels like butter right now on my fingers. So the next one I will show you is, I like this for the shade. I absolutely love Milani blushes, But this one in particular, this is called Coral Cove. Look at how pretty that is. It is gorgeous. So hopefully you can see this one has a little bit more of a pinky corally shade to it. This one does feel, I'm going to say, not bad. Like it does have like a buttery texture to it. Not as much as the Infallible, but this one too is quite pigmented. And I've been using this for so long, and look at, I haven't even like, it doesn't even look like I've made a dent on that little, the rose emboss on there. It like, it doesn't even look like I've used it, but I do. I use it a lot. And then if you are somebody that likes a liquid blush, and it's that new e.l.f. the Camo blush. Like if look at the pretty. It's just pretty. It's just pretty for summer. Love it. Now these are compared to the Rare Beauty blushes where they're extremely pigmented. This one again does not fade throughout the day. It has a nice applicator. This is in the shade Pinky Peony. Look how pretty that is. Now as a word of caution, what I usually do is I put it onto the back of my hand and then I take my brush and I pick it up that way. I do not apply it directly to my face. I made that mistake. I went down that road and it didn't turn out well for me. So it just didn't. So just as a word of advice, put on the back of your hand or put it onto some kind of like a surface where you can pick up the makeup and apply it that way. You'll thank me for it. So a highlighter that was on my radar, and it is like a long wearing highlighter, and that's why I'm showing it in this video, because once you put it on, it's what I'm wearing today, and it's actually by Sigma. This is the Sigma, this is the highlighter in the shade Twilight. But this feels so good on the skin. Look at that shade, is just stunning. Their formulas of highlighters, any of their, like they have blushes and bronzers and all that sort of stuff. This highlighter has like won my heart. It is one of those, you just need a little bit on your brush. Just put like a tiny bit on my brush. And that's what it gave me, like that glow. It's not a powdery, like a really powdery feeling formula. And that's why I think it's really ideal for a summer application. And then like their packaging is just so beautiful. Like, it has one of those soft close type of packaging. And then if you're looking for like a more of a like a liquidy type of product, there's the e.l.f. the Halo Glow Beauty Wand. I have this in the shade, I think it's Champagne, but these were like one of those viral products that like for a hot minute they were like quite viral. They were like really hard to find. So it has a sponge tip applicator. The shade is beautiful. Right there. Doesn't look too overdone. Very subtle. Doesn't sink into like my crow's feet area. And super affordable. Like these were like, I'll put the price over here. Like they were just super affordable, as e.l.f. is known for. And then once you disperse it on your hand, like it really does disperse nicely. And that's personally how I apply it. I don't like applying things directly to my face. I will sometimes just to test something out, but for the most part, I usually put things on the back of my hand and then pick it up with like a brush, a sponge from that area. And then I know that way I'm probably not going to put too much on my cheek. I always think that lip liners are a great idea to use simply for the fact that it's going to contain any sort of like lipstick if you have lipstick on or whatever product, just from migrating into any sort of lines that you may have around your mouth. It's not going to bleed out, right, from the lipstick color. So one of my favorites actually is by Essence. This is the 8-Hour Matte Lip Liner. This one I have in the shade Soft Beige. And the reason I really like this shade is I find it complements so many different lipsticks. But see how it just kind of goes with everything. So I usually just fill in my whole lip. And then that way I can either just go in with a gloss if I want to, especially summertime, right? Like it's just nice to have something really nice and light on your lips. So the one that I am wearing today is by Sigma. So this is it's called Infinity Point, but I loved the shade. It's called Peach Tea. And I love the name of the shade because I think summer type of products, I like corals. I like more like a muted neutral shade. And that's what this delivers. So I'll put it right beside the lip liner and see how nicely it complements the lip liner. But what a pretty shade. Like it really does give me peach tea vibes. And when it's a precision point, like it really is a precise point on the lipstick. Look at that. It really helped. Like if I go like that, like look at how nicely it fits on the lip. So this was just part of that collection that was included in the box that I got, the PR box that I got. So I can't wait to use. There's a whole bunch of different shades and stuff that I want to use in there. And then the one gloss that they sent me that I was just like, I have to try this. So I'm going to put it on right now. It's the Hydrating Lip Gloss. But what's so nice about this is it has hyaluronic acid in it, jojoba oil, a vitamin E, and it's a shimmery. Like, look at the shimmer on that. Look at that. It's gorgeous. So we're just going to put a little bit on. Gives me a little bit of sparkle in the middle. So, so pretty. And then one of my go-tos that I use a lot. This was a launch, I believe, last year by BK Beauty. They launched a few new shades of lipstick, but this one won me over, and I used it nonstop last summer because they came out right before the summertime. This is in the shade Empower. Repeatedly, I've said to you guys, I love coral shades for the summer. I think it gives me kind of that vibe, like the jean jacket on and a beautiful shade of lipstick. Now it's a pretty, I'm going to say it leans a little bit on the orangey side, but my goodness, you guys, this is stunning once you get it on. It's beautiful. If you are somebody that feels that you need to wear some sort of a powder on your face, if you feel you're a little bit too shiny or if you get too oily throughout the day, one of my go-tos that the very few times I actually do wear a powder, the one that I go to is the Physicians Formula. This is the Butter Believe It powder, and I have this one in the shade Creamy Natural. This one really does have like a buttery texture to it. It is a pressed powder, but I usually will just take a fluffy brush, like just a tiny, tiny little bit, and put anywhere that I think I need any. It gives you like a blurring effect. One of my all-time favorite powders from the drugstore. And then to make sure that makeup is not going anywhere, I highly, highly suggest a setting spray. So I have two setting sprays that the one you'll see obviously that I use it a lot because it's pretty much empty and I need to order a new one. So my Charlotte Tilbury, this is like one of my absolute favorites. There is just a tiny little bit in there. So I do need more. This one is one of the best setting sprays that I think I've ever used. This is like the whole package. It's the smell, the mister. It makes my makeup last all day. Wonderful. Great for the summertime. The one I've been really enjoying, which is a little bit more affordable than the Charlotte Tilbury, is the Milani Make It Last, a dewy one. Now, if you are somebody that has oily skin, there is different versions. There's like a matte version, but because I have dry skin, I usually gravitate towards dewy ones. I didn't put it on, so I thought I would do it on camera with you guys. The mister is really nice on this one. And it smells quite lovely. It's like a florally type of scent, but this just locks it. Like my makeup is locked and loaded for the day, not budging, not going anywhere. And I don't even have to do any touch-ups. That's what's so great about when you use a setting spray. I find I don't need to do touch-ups throughout the day. And I'll call this little segment, I'll call these my fun little products that I like for the summertime. So I think it's great to have a really light, airy scent for the summertime. And this one that I have is the Lise Watier. This is one of those like a limited edition that they only come out in the summertime with. This year they had like 4 different scents, but they smell amazing. I wish you could smell it through the camera. And what I like about this one is you don't even have to, it's not just for your body, but you can actually like put it in your hair and make your hair smell beautiful. It's such a lovely fragrance. The green one that I have here is called, this one is Vent de Sud. I don't know, or Vent de Sud. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. I am not French, but I love this is just an example. I just love a really pleasant scent for the summertime. And then you may have noticed my nails. I try and keep it pretty simple. One of the shades, like this is the shade I have on today. It's the Essie. It's the Ballet slippers. I think this is one of those iconic shades, like it's been around forever. And it just kind of gives you, it's not too much, but it gives a hint of a color to show that you have something on your nails. So this is my go-to shade for the summertime. I think it's fun to have a cute little pair of sunglasses, but make sure that they have enough protection. I will say that. Sometimes those fun little sunglasses, they don't have like all the sun protection for your eyes. But always make sure, I say, to have a nice pair of sunglasses. These are the ones, if I can link them, I'll see if I can link them for you guys. Sorry that I can see the ring light is kind of coming off of them here, but what a cute little, these are like cat eye type of sunglasses. So just fun, and then just a nice piece of jewelry. Like I think it's nice to keep things really simple in the summertime. So this is one of my favorite necklaces. It's by the brand Dean Davidson. And I had this in my channel like a long time ago. This was from like a collection that I received, but isn't that pretty? It's very simple. Sometimes you guys don't see what I'm wearing because of just where the camera gets cut off, but I just wanted to show that to you guys. I think it's just nice to wear simple jewelry in the summertime. So that was just, yeah, one of my favorite necklaces that I have. So do me a favor, if you can let me know in the comments whether you guys would like to see a dedicated like a suntan or like an SPF video. I was trying to brainstorm some ideas, and I thought I have so many different types of SPF products that I use, and I didn't know if you guys would be interested in that, to see the different types that I use. Like I have obviously tinted ones. I have ones that spray. I have ones that I wear with different types of makeup. Some of them I can use as a primer. So let me know down in the comments whether you guys would like to see that. I always like to hear from you guys whether I should even create a video like that, if that would be something you would find. But now would be the time, obviously, because it's summertime. So if I'm going to do it, it has to be now. So I'd really appreciate that feedback from you guys. So don't forget to share, like, and subscribe if you're not already. Like I mentioned, everything will be linked and listed down below in the description box. And as always, I hope everybody has a great week and a great life. And I'll see you all very soon in my next video. Bye.